The utility forcing you to conserve water.
We can only water our yard once a week.
And pay higher rates.
I'm sure we could all like to have a lower water bill each month.
Is also responsible for fixing the city's broken water pipes.
But KXAN investigator Josh Hinkle discovered billions of gallons of your water are still wasted through leaks every year.
That's right. That man you just saw, he's an Austin water customer we tracked down who called the utility after a pipe broke on his property, leaking 13 gallons a minute. Crews came out and shut it off, which took some time. Multiplied that by 1,500. That is the amount of breaks they had to fix in the past year alone. Nearly impossible to get ahead of quickly.
We do everything that you can possibly do to manage leaks.
But sometimes that's just not enough, by a long shot. In the past year, Austin leaked nearly 4.8 billion gallons of water. That's enough to fill up Lady Bird Lake twice.
What do you say to those users that have seen rate hikes and they've been under water restrictions in recent years when they hear that number?
I say we're performing very well, that number has been very well controlled. When you look comparatively at Austin statistics.
Austin water head Greg Mazzaris explains part of that management means replacing pipes. 10 to 12 miles a year, but at that speed, with 900 miles total of new pipe needed, it would take close to a century to finish.
We have a ranking system where we go through and look at factors such as how many times it broke in the past.
Some lines are cast iron and date back to the 1930s. Some leaks are obvious, like this geyser off Palmer Lane that lost more than 5 million gallons.
Sometimes it's difficult to find those leaks because they're so far underground, like this 66-inch transmission line, one of the major water suppliers to East Austin. It took special sonar for crews to pinpoint it this summer, even though they discovered it was leaking millions of gallons of water last year. Why has it taken so long to fix that particular leak?
I wouldn't characterize it as a long time. First, it's a transmission system that you can't take out of service easily. It's an important part of our system. And you don't want to start digging willy-nilly.
Yeah, but this isn't just a leak in a pipe. This is a transmission line. It's big.
Yeah, some of these leakages are huge. Absolutely.
Austin Councilman Don Zimmerman sits on the city's Public Utility Committee and says it's clear more funding could help speed up the repair and replacement process.
What can the council do about that, though?
That's a good question. Now, the Austin Water Utility is one of our enterprise funds, and the management answers directly to the city manager. They don't answer directly to the city council. So what the city council can do is direct the city manager to put a focus on fixing the problem.
That's something you're prepared to do?
I'll bring that forward as a resolution, absolutely.
Now, the city manager would not comment on our story, but we will follow up with him when the budget comes together. We will also follow up on Zimmerman's proposal next month when his committee meets. But it might not be enough, at least immediately. Look at it this way. With the drought, Austin Water has restricted how much water you use since 2009. That means you're buying less water, which is why the rate you're paying has gone up consistently during that time. And Mazzaros tells me another rate increase is in store next year.
Because we understand the utility doesn't have any plans to ease those water restrictions anytime soon.
Right.
Josh, thank you very much. Those restrictions, as we said, are continuing despite Central Texas being out of the drought. While many communities still have their own limits, Austin specifically limits using sprinklers for certain times and days, also prohibits hand washing your vehicle, using large fountains, and restaurants serving water without a request and operating patio misters outside of specific times.
To give you an idea of just how big Austin Water's challenge really is, we checked. There are almost 4,000 miles of pipe here in Austin, nearly twice the amount of road mileage in the city. As Josh said, the utility is working to replace aging pipes. It's a $125 million program called Renew Austin that launched back in 2012. Much of the replacement happens when the city is also doing road work, so streets aren't ripped up twice. Online now at KXAN.com, we have a photo slideshow of crews installing those cast iron pipes back in the 1930s. Just look in the investigation section. And while you're there, check our interactive water ticker. Our KXAN digital investigator David Barrere has calculated how much water the city has leaked second by second. And we checked at the beginning of this report through right now, Austin has lost 30,000 gallons. See for yourself in the investigative section at KXAN.com. But KXAN also discovered no state agency penalizes utilities for losing too much water. However, the Texas Water Development Board sets leakage thresholds for utilities, and Austin Water came in just below the limit last year. There is no penalty for breaking the threshold, but the Water Board can offer utilities assistance to find and reduce leaks.
Every year, Austin loses 6 to 8% of its total water through pipeline losses. Austin is not spending enough money to keep up with maintenance.
That is local water watchdog Paul Robbins. He says Austin Water doesn't have enough money to fix its problems, just like many utilities across the nation. He points to a study from the American Water Works Association saying the U.S. would have to spend $250 billion over the next 30 years to replace old pipes. And that is not the only water challenge for leaders here, though.
Tomorrow night on KXAN News at 10 o'clock, we reveal another water waste they didn't even know was happening. In the middle of the heat of the day, while the rest of us are asked to conserve water, our cameras caught this. And now the city says it's making a change. But how soon? Tomorrow night at 10 right here. And by the way, that story started with a tip. If you have something you want us to investigate, email us at report@kxan.com.